Hi, am I audible here? I'll just wait for a few people to join before I can start. Can somebody just let me know if I'm audible? Am I audible? Can someone let me know if I'm audible? Yes, I'll just wait for a minute or two and then I'll start. So, hi, good morning everyone. I hope you all are keeping safe and happy amidst this strenuous atmosphere that's around here. I'm Shaili. I passed out from DPS East in 2017 and I'm currently in my third year of engineering at BITS Pilani. First of all, I would like to extend my heartiest gratitude to our dear principal sir for giving me this opportunity to speak today. I gather he is listening to me. It's an honor. Over the past few days, I've heard some of my peers, my teachers from school speak on interesting topics ranging from economics to computer science, career guidance, and so much more. You would all have heard a lot of advice on how to succeed in life, how to make yourself a better person, about self-improvement, about holistic development, career guidance, and so on and so forth. But you see, whenever we hear these amazing tips about self-growth, they all revolve around things that you can and should do for yourself, isn't it? Like, do this, learn this, do that, and that will help you grow. It all revolves around ourself, around me. I am the center of the universe. Today my aim is to make you realize that one can rise by lifting others. I have chosen this topic, social service and youth, for two reasons. First, throughout my school life, and for that matter even college life, I haven't heard a lot of people talk about the role of social service in one's self-development. Second, I strongly believe that there are aspects of personality that social service can engrave into a person provided they are inculcated at a young age. To begin with, I would like to address those of you who might be wondering, what does a 21-year-old engineering student know about social service? For the past 3 years at my college, I have been working at NSS, BITS Pilani. NSS, or National Service Scheme, it's an Indian government sponsored public service program. So we are the student chapter at BITS Pilani and we are a group of about 250 student volunteers. You see, Pilani is this very small town in the middle of nowhere, mostly like a village, similar to how DPS East is situated just near Hirapur village. And apart from the college campus and one or two schools, there is nothing really outside. It's very different from a city like Ahmedabad. And there are, in that life is very different from the life that we have seen growing up. So we at NSS, we are involved in various upliftment activities in education, healthcare, computer literacy, and so on. I myself have been involved in various education related initiatives. I've directly worked towards getting slum children admitted to schools, to raise scholarship money for needy children, for conducting counseling sessions for poor school children, and so on and so forth. And these experiences and interactions have taught me a lot, and they have changed me as a person. And that is why this topic today. Enough of the details. Now let me get to the point. So, as I said, social service and the youth. To me, social service has two aspects. First, the change or the impact created by it. And the second is the growth of the person involved. Most of the time, we easily relate to the first aspect. So let me start there. Do you know that the literacy rate in India is about 75%? This means that 1 out of every 4 children of this country never sees the face of school. And out of those who see the face of school, countless of them drop out at early ages. And there are a very few fortunate enough like us to complete schools and go into universities and study further. This is just one statistical example. There'll be countless more from different sectors, but that's not my point. My point is, what can you do about it? You see, whenever we think about social service, we generally get this activist kind of a picture in mind. We picture Mother Teresa or something like that, going into slums and teaching, doing tedious work, etc. Even I had this kind of image when I was back in school. We think कि इतने problems हैं कि हमारे एक के करने से क्या होता है, isn't it? But this is simply not true. Each and every one of us has the potential to create impact. And this is not something that I'm saying. This is true and this has happened. I'll tell you how. So I told you I work for raising scholarship money for needy children. So here is what we did for the last 2 years in our college. So you see, at our college, we get Maggie for 20 rupees at the canteen. And college students हैं, hostel में रहने वाले मैगी तो रोज खाते हैं. It's like breakfast, lunch and dinner for us. So we approached the students and we asked them to donate just 1 Maggie per week for the scholarship of the kids that we support. And we asked them to pledge a Maggie per week for a year. So इतनी मैगी खाते हैं, 1 मैगी एक्स्ट्रा से किसी को कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला, right? So those 20 rupees for a week, every week for a year, multiplied by the number of students, can you guess the amount we raised? We raised about 7.5 lakh rupees in the first year and about 10 lakh in the second year. And this money has been supporting the education of about 200 children combined for the last 2 years. And many more to come in the coming year. This is just one example of how each small effort collectively can bring about change. सोचो अगर एक कॉलेज के बच्चे मिलके 200 पुअर किड्स को पढ़ा सकते हैं, तो what can all of us do together? And this is not something that I'm saying. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And this is a well-known law of nature. When things come together, they create a large impact than each individual. So this was about affecting change. Each and every one has the potential to affect change. That 20 rupees from each student brought change in life of 200 kids. So this was about the first aspect. Now let me come to the second, which is the core of my topic today, self-growth. You see, back in Pilani, when we are in the college campus, none of us really thinks about the life outside. Even, I guess, when we used to go to school, how many of you, when you travel in the bus, you think about the life of the villagers who are just at a walking distance from you? We don't. You see, we all live in this constricted bubble. It is made of our responsibilities, our concerns, our loved ones, our possessions, and our dreams. But it is this bubble, and we don't step out of it. Often we glance outside and we pity what we see. A beggar might come up to us at a traffic signal, and we just give them few money or few coins, and we see some advertisement for some fundraising um, PM care for COVID-19 that has been up a lot, and we donate money. And we donate money and we think that our responsibility towards the society is over. But here is the thing, we do not step out of this bubble. We never really come out. Social service, in my opinion, is stepping out of this bubble and stepping out of the comfort zone and seeing what life can be like. We find it very easy to donate money towards a cause, and that's our responsibility. But here is the thing, time. Time is the most precious commodity, something money cannot buy. And what we never give back to the society is our most precious possession, time. If you want to experience the essence of what it means to put someone above you, what you really need to donate is time. And how will this help? This will help because human nature is to learn from experience rather than just from listening to others or reading books. We learn much better when we experience. I'll give you a few examples from my own experience. So, till last year, I used to teach this student who passed his 10th standard last year. His father had suffered some injuries and he had left school and he was working to support his family. He was a 19-20-year-old student. He hadn't passed his 12th standard and he had left school for about 4 or 5 years to support his family so that his brother could finish education. And we came across him and we put him back into part-time school and everything like that. He used to go to school every day for 6 hours. After that, he would go to work for 5 to 6 hours. He worked as a waiter kind of a thing at a small chai wala's dukan. And then he would come to us because he had not studied for a while, so he needed help. He would come to us and I would teach him for about an hour or two, and then he'll go home, finish his homework and do so much. Now imagine, how many of you can imagine having to work to earn the money to support your education? We can't, right? And the interaction with this kid, it apart from the satisfaction that I got, the lesson in gratitude that I learned from this experience, I don't think I could have ever felt gratitude so deeply. It is very easy to pity those who have less than us, but it is equally difficult to understand the value and appreciate the things we have. Teaching that kid made me value the fact that I'm so lucky to have parents who can afford to give me a comfortable life and good education. Tell me this, how many of us think about so many people who sleep hungry when you eat food at your favorite restaurant? Or how many of you think of those who don't have clothes before buying that 500 rupee shirt? We don't, right? Don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying that you should not enjoy those luxuries and give away your money to charity. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, go eat that meal in your favorite restaurant. Go buy your favorite clothes. But while doing so, don't forget to appreciate the value of these things. And this appreciation, this gratitude comes from within when you have first-hand interacted with someone who is deprived of it. This is the growth that social service brings. It makes you grateful. It makes you humble. It also teaches you dedication, perseverance. We organize this fest for 2 days every year for specially abled children. And there's this girl, Jyoti, from this NGO called Dipalya, who comes every time. She has trouble walking. She cannot walk a few steps without someone holding her. And there is a 20-meter obstacle race that we organize. And she takes part in it every year. Every year, she consistently comes last. But still, she takes more than 20 minutes just to cover that distance of 20 meters. But she does not give up. And that makes me feel, yaar, wo kar sakti hai. Every time I want to give up, I just think about her and I'm like, yaar, wo kar sakti hai, to main to kar hi sakti hu. And that is dedication, perseverance that comes when you see these things. You learn how to live life to the fullest in the limited means that you have. So We go to these kids' homes to whom we provide scholarship, and they have nothing. They literally study in candlelight and play with tires. You know, the kind we see in movies, and we can't imagine people doing that in real life, but it is there. And this kid that I usually go to his home, he loves cycling, but obviously there is no cycle. He's a young child and there's no cycle at his home apart from the one that his father has, the big one with the danda. And still every day in the evening he will put his leg through the danda and go on a half pedal and still enjoy that cycling. It teaches you that you can enjoy life to the fullest. It gives you zeal. And I can go on and on and on about this so many things, but it all boils down to this. If you spend time behind social service, behind putting someone else above yourself, you will learn lessons of life that you cannot learn anywhere else. And it's not like it's difficult. It can be the smallest of the things. I remember when we were in 6th and 7th standard, there was this Vridhashram near the petrol pump near our school, and we used to go there we went there for 1 or 2 years to celebrate Grandparents' Day. It can be something as simple as that. You give chocolates to your classmates and to your friends in your bus on your birthday. How about going to an orphanage on your birthday and giving chocolates there, spending some time with the kids there? You may have your house help or your maid who comes at your home. If he or she has kids and they are your age or younger, maybe spend a day in a week and help them with their homework. When it is vacation time, spend a day, go to the Blind People's Association that's there in Ahmedabad and go and spend a day with them. These are very simple things. They don't require like a huge brainstorming, or they don't require a lot of resources. All they require is will. And this is not just for the students. Students learn by seeing their parents and teachers. So the elders should not only encourage but become active participants for such activities. For parents and teachers, become a regular blood donor. Something as simple as that. Or if you're more interested, bring together some people in your society or workplace and organize a blood donation camp in your area and encourage others to become blood donors. Something as simple as that. Our school often has these sessions by teachers and different principal sir or for teachers, for students on so many different topics. Just a few meters from our school, there is a government school. How about organizing a session by the teachers on career guidance and on all other topics for the students and teachers of those government schools? These are simple things, and these are not impossible to do. These are just some ideas I'm throwing at you. What you exactly do is entirely up to you and the cause you believe in. The thing is, you have to do something, spend time behind something that is not just for yourself. Service before self, the motto of the DPS East. Education is not about books, it is about development of a person and of the society. And it's not me who says this. Countries like US, whose education system we so appreciate, they have community service hours as a part of their school education, as a part of their evaluative component. So why not we model this aspect of their education? Most of the schools, they focus on the 3 pillars of education, and they do an excellent job in doing so. They are academics, extracurricular activities, and sports. But there is a 4th pillar, and that pillar is community service, giving back. Nurturing and encouraging this aspect of education can go a very, very long way in shaping personality of our youth. I hope I have sparked some thoughts in your mind and given you enough conviction to actually act upon some ideas. Our youth today is unfortunately ignorant of the change that they can affect for themselves as well as for the society. And I think it is upon each and every one of us to realize this potential and to implement these ideas and to encourage those around us to do the same thing. That's all from my side. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you for listening. Good day.